Hey there, my name is River. My pronouns are they and he, and I'm the sound designer and composer for Bertha Mason, written and directed by Rochelle Richardson. So this play is about Bertha Mason from the novel Jane Eyre, and how the events of the book play out from her perspective as a black woman who is idealized and then subsequently demonized by the white male lead, Rochester. It talks about the historical demonization and vampirization of black women by white people, misogynoir, and how black women are uniquely harmed by whiteness. It focuses on giving Bertha back her power, humanizing her, and giving her a voice to speak about her experiences. So my process for actually creating sounds is that I like to see what practical sound effects there are in the script and what we can do with those and what the director wants to keep and throw away. And then for more of the design stuff, like ambient sounds and soundscapes and music, I like to create that while I'm in the rehearsal room, if possible, with the actors. But I'm very collaborative when I work with directors or just anyone. I can shift and change to what the team wants, what their working style is, what folks are comfortable with. I also really like to make collages of sounds and songs that remind me of the text to use for inspiration as a sort of living inspiration board and playlist of ideas. Usually I'll share this with the director and ask if they have any inspo music of their own, any Pinterest boards, whatever. I'm pretty sure Rochelle has already shared some of hers, so cool. Something that I do want to stay cognizant of throughout the creation of sound for this show is power and positionality in terms of who's in the room. So I'm a white man. I would be sitting in on a space that is about the centering of black women and black voices. And this means, for me, I would want to be very collaborative in my process to make sure that everything I'm doing centers those things. I would like to check in with a dramaturg or Rochelle to make sure that I'm not missing the mark on anything. For most of the sound design within the play, I would want the soundscapes to reflect and center around Bertha's and the vampire's inner world, emotions, and reality, rather than Rochester's or any of the other characters. Yeah, I also, like I said, I love being in the room and building, underscoring, when there's more dance, movement-based pieces included in shows. But for this production, I was thinking of asking if we could have an artist come in to do live drumming. This play opens with drumming, and the vampire character is sort of dancing around Bertha, protecting her. And the quality of drums, the mood, and their power, I think, would sound a lot better if it were happening live and organically, and playing off the vampire, rather than it being this pre-recorded track. The play starts off in this space, this kind of elevated reality, or magic realism, as Rochelle puts it. And there's also the presence of fire a lot during this first scene and just throughout the text. Things burning and resurrecting. And I'd want to play with that sound, with the sound and the quality of the fire, its crackle and all the other noises it makes, and also any other noises within the environment and how they would work with or without the drums being layered in. So moving on. Within the play, Bertha begins in Jamaica. Here, her soundscape is described with things like birds, the ocean, trees, bugs. What do these things sound like for Bertha? How do they change? What does Jamaica sound like? How does it sound different from Rochester's home, from his mansion? What are some location and era appropriate sounds and instruments that could be used in order to create the right feel, the right vibe? These are the questions that I would ask myself as I built the soundscapes, and questions that I would seek out answers to from the other designers and the rest of the production team to make sure that I'm doing stuff that's cohesive with and building towards the same vision. Another idea I had was to show Bertha's feelings for Rochester, specifically how they progress throughout the play, I wanted to do this by like creating music for the initial montage that takes place when Rochester and Bertha are courting each other. Um, the music would be kind of to heighten and bring in the feeling of like new infatuation that will later be tainted when Rochester starts being the worst. Um, the music could contrast the beginning percussion, or it could have some softer drums layered under it. It could come back later, but distorted and warped when he starts mistreating Bertha as her reality kind of starts shifting and changing. Yeah. Another thing I was thinking about was what I could do for when the vampire re-enters or is present and is attempting to speak to Bertha, because she pops in and out throughout the play. With a vampire, I definitely think the drums should make a reappearance, even if only as background noise that could serve to like heighten the tension and tie the urgency at the end of the play that Bertha is feeling back to the initial scene. I would also, again, talk to the other designers about the ways in which they're doing this in order for any like music or ambient sounds or soundscapes to make sense. Yeah. Yeah. So overall, I something that I wanted to carry with me throughout this process to sort of guide what I'm doing was a line from the show. Um, Towards the end, when the vampire's talking to Bertha, she says, "You, Bertha, are not alone. You are not alone in this room, and you are not alone in time. You have been raised by history, supported by traditions and cultures too beautiful and magnificent for these pale colonizers to comprehend." So going forward, I want to ask myself, how can we bring these traditions and cultures into the world of the play? How can we make them these ancestors, these pasts that Bertha and the vampire encompass, present throughout the play in a way that both honors her and honors them? So, thank you.